All right, we are back in Assetto Corsa, and we're taking another look at Hamburg version 1.3 that just came out because there's traffic. Mentioned on the last video that I did with this that there would be traffic soon, and here it is. And I love this map with traffic. Slightly different version of the map. I thought I'd try the main out. That's what we're driving here. I love traffic maps, and I like Hamburg. I think that this is actually a really well done map. It's very pretty to drive. And with traffic, it's a little bit more of an adventure, to be sure. So, funny thing happened to me recently. I can talk about since we're just driving. Is went to load up iRacing to practice for an upcoming league race and was immediately presented with an error saying it was unable to connect to a race server. Puzzled. Nothing had changed on my machine, and no software updates, no nothing that would have caused this. So I started looking into it, and it turns out that on October 7th, 2025 here, it's last week from the time of recording of this video, iRacing released server-side patch 10.31.0. And apparently what they did in this patch was begin enforcing document paths for the iRacing content, specifically to limit it specifically to the system drive, the C drive on the Windows box. If your user folders and documents specifically under which iRacing is stored are anywhere else, like on a secondary drive, which is what I do to improve general performance and to prevent applications that consume a lot of disk space from overrunning the system drive and causing the machine to crash. I use a dedicated drive for software, and I use a dedicated drive also for data. I used to actually combine the two, Before I actually had multiple drives and machines, I created separate partitions for those specific purposes, just so I didn't allow a game to accidentally cause my system to crash. And I save a lot of things like replay files and other sorts of things to refer back to later, so it makes perfect sense that I would separate out the system so as to not shoot myself in the foot through general activity. Well, apparently that is not a known or respected practice by iRacing, so they basically have hard-coded something in iRacing now that looks for everything on the C drive. You can't work around it with fancy tricks. Well, I guess you could work around it with some fancy tricks like using shortcuts and doing some weird things that will get overwritten anytime the system, iRacing system gets updated, which is annoying. Basically what it means is that I had plans to compete in several leagues here coming into 2026. Of course, I've been taking part in the Matt Malone League. And was going to do North America Racing League, was going to do some PCA sim racing. All of that is gone now until this is either reverted, and I don't think it will be, based on my interactions with iRacing support. They seem to be pretty unapologetic about the change, the undocumented change. Nowhere did I see this written out anywhere. They would start enforcing this more strictly. Unapologetic in my dealings with them. In fact, said that the only recourse that I really had was to be a good little Microsoft user and revert to standard default locations for Microsoft directories. They would put in a request, a development request, to, make it more flexible. But I've been in product management for a number of years. I know what that actually means. Thank you. We'll put it on the backlog. Essentially means that it will never get done. And the fact that I guess I'm angriest about the fact that they made this change without documenting it, without giving any notice. And that's pretty shitty, because I've been running in this sort of configuration the entire time I've been using iRacing. Most recently, I started back up with iRacing in 2020. And I had used it prior to that, going back all the way back to 2010. And in 2010, when I installed it, I had a separate directory for my user directory and everything. I had set up partitions, basically. It was a separate drive. Logical drive on the machine. It wasn't a separate drive, like physical drive. So, I don't know. iRacing is arguably the best simulator out there. Not necessarily for all physics capabilities, and definitely the UI graphical engine needs an overhaul, and they're working on that. But for online competition, it is the very best. It's got the best netcode. It's got the best online system for matchmaking, and so it's a great system. That's why so many people use it and swear by it for their leagues and for other things. But if you're a software developer and you're trying to dictate to me how I can configure my machine for best performance, backup, safety, resilience, you've kind of stepped out of your lane a little bit. Especially when there are built-in ways in the system to identify where the user stores their data, and you can pick that up programmatically and do the right thing. And that's what iRacing used to do, is they respected the fact that I had placed stuff on a separate drive, and it was easy to work with and all good, and there were no problems. Now they've decided that that isn't the way things are going to operate any longer. So to say I'm a little disappointed is an understatement. I do. I've been an iRacing user for a good long time, and I do consider it to be my preferred sim under most circumstances, although the last year and a half probably wouldn't tell you that. I did a little experiment with Assetto Corsa. Somebody had said that, Assetto Corsa was dead and that there was no way you could drive it, and have an interesting time doing it. And I've proven that content is fresh, and I've been driving it. I haven't done a lot of online competition with Assetto Corsa. That is where it falls down a little bit, is in the netcode and capabilities for, head-to-head racing. It supports it, but you have to go a little bit outside of the box. It's not built into the sim as it is with iRacing. But there are other sims out there. Project Motor Racing is on the horizon, promises to be a really popular new title. LMU has definitely done some really cool stuff with the help of Will Fuel Motorsports and other things. So there are definitely options, and there'll be even more options coming to bear here in the not too distant future that should be very interesting. So iRacing alienating customers is not the best move, I don't think. And as for me, I've done what you might expect. I went online and I let my league admin know that I wouldn't be participating for a little while, and for the foreseeable future for that matter. And then I canceled my auto renew, turned auto renew off on my iRacing, because obviously if I can't play the game, a lot of you may be thinking, well, why don't I just, bite the bullet and rebuild my machine and follow the rules and be a good little boy? I do that in certain aspects when, it makes sense to do so. But here they're actually asking me to deploy my machine that I paid good money for in an inferior configuration to meet their needs, not mine. No. That isn't going to happen. And if that means that I lose friends because I'm no longer iRacing, or I lose favor because, well, that's just a stupid stance, you're, picking a weird hill to die on, I don't think I am. I'm tired of being bullied by software companies, and iRacing should be better than this, especially if they want to keep users, especially advanced users that know what they're doing and can support other users in terms of their technology use. I don't know. Let me know what you think. I mean, have you been bitten by this yet? Ah, jeez. I mean, I really don't want to rebuild my machine. I had enough doing that earlier this year, late last year, when I had hardware failures, had to rebuild the machine from scratch, get it back up and running. I'm not going to rebuild it on a whim simply because a software company decided to make a change that doesn't make any sense. Small of me, maybe, but given iRacing is not the cheapest on the block in terms of use. I mean, you pay to use the service, you pay to license every piece of content. I'm paying for them to work for me, not for me to work for them. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time rebuilding a machine to meet their needs, especially when they were not documented. It was an undocumented change. This is the way I've been operating iRacing for a good long while. And to suddenly make an arbitrary change that limits my ability to do that is just stupid. Anyway, I give you Assetto Corsa and the wonderful Hamburg map with the very latest in 4-hour traffic, some of which even stays in its lane. But the traffic pumped up enough here that it is not easy to go fast through some of these sections. And we're almost to the end of the map. So in response to this, I really would appreciate it if you would refrain from dumb commentary on the video, especially like commentary, you know, saying, well, iRacing sucks or, you know, whatever. Why are we stopped? Oh, I guess we're at the end of the line. So, hope you enjoyed Hamburg with the traffic. I wanted to take another look at it and just wanted to rant a little bit. So thank you for listening. If you made it this far, definitely give me a like and a comment. And I will definitely look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye now.
Spaß macht Rennsport.